Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. Please take your seat.
Thank you, sir.
Shreyanshi.
Yes, sir.
Shreyanshi, you come from Lucknow, Uttar Pradesh.
Yes, sir.
Your optional subject is sociology.
Yes, sir.
This is your third attempt
Yes,
at the
sir.
civil services examination. And your hobbies include journaling, visiting historical places.
Yes, sir.
So, can you share with us any of such recent visits that you have made to any historical place?
Yes, sir. Sir, recently I visited to Darshavatara temple in the Lalitpur district. So it was a initial stage of Nagra style temple development, which has depicted 10 avatars of the Vishnu and is still surviving since the 1000th year.
Okay. Uh, if somebody is in Lucknow,
Yes, sir.
then which historical places would you suggest that person to visit?
Yes, sir. So we have many places. So firstly, the Bada Imambara. So secondly, the Chota Imambara. We have the Chhatar Mandir. Along with that, the Husainabad clock. So these are some places.
Okay, are you also aware that there is a proposal uh, which is seeking to change the name of Lucknow?
Yes, sir.
What is your view on that?
So Lucknow itself is a name that is still very popular. So, sir, there should be a citizens' consensus over it before changing the name of the citizen. If people agree, then only it should be taken up.
And how that consensus will be created? What platform will you use?
Yes, sir. So there are various, we have the e-district portal where citizens can put up their voices and their choices. Along with that, the social media can also be used for knowing the people's view.
Why we need to change the names? What do you think? What is the advantage of changing the names?
Yes, sir. So there are some advantages like it will help in administrative ease. Along with that, it will help in relating to the history or to the of the place that has been still surviving. Also, it will associate people with the culture associated with it. So these are few advantages.
Okay. Uh, you were awarded gold medal for best lady student in history
Yes,
at the
sir.
university level.
Yes, sir.
But you chose sociology over
Yes,
history.
sir.
Why did you do that, Shreyanshi?
So history is an important subject that provides us the roots of many things. So being studying the history for a long time, I wanted to know about more of a contemporary society. So I pursued the sociology as my optional in civil services.
Societies shape history or history shapes society?
So it's a both manner. So both
Give an
are
example
interlinked.
of both.
Yes, sir. So just a moment. So we have the Bhakti and the Sufi movement. At that time, the society that underwent that movement shaped the history, and we see its reflections even today. So, as well as considering how the history shapes the society, so many changes that came during the British rule is still surviving, and we have their reflection. For example, the English use of English. It was in colonial advent in India.
Where does India stand in terms of semiconductor production?
So exactly, I'm not knowing the enhance.
Are you aware about the new electronic manufacturing policy?
So I have a limited knowledge.
Suppose we want to make India as the next manufacturing hub, then what three measures would you suggest over which the government has yet not acted? Three new innovative measures.
So can I have a moment?
Yes.
So as far as I can see, so we can work upon the regional imbalance and focusing upon the rural manufacturing. So secondly, the women skilling and the women entrepreneurship can also be promoted to a next level.
Okay.
So thirdly, uh, the innovation can be more improved and the R&D factor, sir. So these are the steps which government has taken, but we needs to work upon this only, as far as I can relate.
Okay. Can you highlight, Shreyansee, at least two schemes
Yes,
which
sir.
are presently run by Ministry of Social Justice that are relevant to Uttar Pradesh? Two
Yes, sir.
schemes.
So firstly is the manual scavenging scheme, Pradhan Mantri Namaste, that will help in tackling the issue of manual scavenging. Also, other is the disabled friendly schemes, which will help in PWD category citizens.
Name the scheme.
So I couldn't recall that name.
Have you heard about this thing called Pragati related to good governance or governance?
Yes, sir.
What is it?
So it is a portal that will measure the advancement in our governance sector also and monitor, which will help in better governance. The completion of the project it will look over.
Once the Sri Ram Mandir is constructed,
Yes, sir.
how would it impact the economy of the region? We all know its cultural ramifications. I'm talking about the economy of the region. How do you think how the entire district of Ayodhya will be galvanized economically?
So firstly, it will help in creating the tourism sector in the state. Already we having a huge domestic tourism. It will boost that. So secondly, it will help the small scale businessmen located in the nearby region, which will boost their economy. So thirdly, it will help in creation of hospitality sector in the industry, in the region, which will help in that manner also.
Are you aware about any particular policy of government of Uttar Pradesh which is encouraging tourism at this moment?
Yes, so we have new tourism policy 2018, which is encouraging the tourism.
Can you share the highlights of that policy?
Yes, sir. So under this, the heritage arc has been created throughout the state, like the Buddhist circuit, the Jain circuit, Awadh circuit, Bundelkhand circuit. So along with this, the state is developing the hospitality industry in this sector, along with the connectivity to this region to ensure better tourism facilities.
What life lessons can we draw
Yes, sir.
from Vardhaman Mahavir Bhagwan that is relevant with respect to creating an ideal society?
Yes, sir.
Three life lessons. I like three life lessons that we can learn from Bhagwan Mahavir.
So firstly, it is ahimsa. So by preaching that, it gives us the courage to be tolerant to everyone. So secondly, it is the tolerance. So it helps in respecting other views as well as perpetuating the sustainable development in our contemporary society.
Okay.
So thirdly, it is the faith, the truth. So it will help us to develop a better society where everyone can live happily.
Are you aware about Ratnatraya?
Yes, sir.
What are they?
So there are three Ratna. So firstly, Samyak Gyan, that means right knowledge. Samyak Charitra, right character. So Samyak Darshan, right faith.
Are you aware about the present law and order situation in Punjab?
Yes, sir.
What is the crisis?
Sir, in Ajnar district, one of the protesters was belonging to an Sikh sect who was pro-Khalistani, was arrested. So the protesters there tried to, they collected at the police station and wanted his release. So by the magisterial order, he was released. So there is a wave of pro-Khalistani movement there.
So, what should the Indian state do now? How should it respond to this crisis? If you are at the helm of affairs, or suppose you are the city SP or district SP, how would you handle this situation?
Yes, sir. So can I have a moment?
Yes.
So based upon my training experience, I'll firstly try to have the surveillance throughout the district so that any incitement is being curbed at that place only. So secondly, I'll try to have a meeting with all my colleagues and senior super officials and try to look over the root causes,
Okay.
and we'll try to talk with the communities there and what are their grievances. So thirdly, I'll try to ensure better intelligence system so that any happening that is going to be taken up, I'm aware about that and take action over it.
If need arises, will you call in the army?
So I'll talk to my superior
If
on.
need arises, suppose the need has arisen,
Yes, sir.
will you call the army in? Or will you at least recommend?
Yes, I'll recommend first.
What is the provision of the Indian Constitution that allows that? Any provision of the Indian Constitution that will allow this move?
Sorry, sir, I couldn't.
Any fundamental right?
So Article 20.
Sure.
Yes, sir.
Article 20 talks about what?
So it's about the preventive detention.
Not only preventive detention. That's Article 22.
Yes, sir.
Article 20.
So it is about fair charging of any person. There should be no double jeopardy, and all. And no one will be sent.
So it is definitely not Article 20.
Yes, so sorry, sir.
Which article then? Fundamental rights. I'm giving you a hint.
So,
Anything related to martial law?
yes, sir. 33, sir.
Are you sure?
So I couldn't.
Or 34?
Sir, not sure.
Okay. Thank you, Shreyansee.
Thank you, sir.
Shreyansee,
Yes, sir.
it's a beautiful name. Tell me what the meaning of the name is.
Yes, sir. So the word is derived from the word Shresht, that's someone having the good qualities.
What is the meaning of the whole name Shreyansee then?
So it's connotes the same name, same meaning, sir. Having the good, pursuing the good qualities and showing the supremacy in whatever.
What are the
field
two
one-
words that form your name, Shreyansee?
No.
Shreya and Ansh.
Yes, sir.
So what does Ansh stand for?
Sir, Ansh is something, the part of something.
So Shreyansee now means
So having the some good qualities out of everything.
good. Okay, 12th of June is your date of birth.
Yes, sir.
Okay, tell me what is this day celebrated worldwide as?
So it is celebrated as International Day Against the Child Labor.
Okay, that is one of the biggest scourges in India also. Tell me what are the three causes of child labor in India?
Yes, sir. So firstly, it is the poverty, due to which children are made to work at the lower ages. So secondly, it is the disguised unemployment perpetuating in the agriculture in our country that leads to this child labor. So thirdly, child labor is considered as a cheap labor, due to which their employability increases. So thirdly, it is the education.
Suppose you are the district collector of your district and you are made aware of the fact that there is child labor in the district. What
Yes, sir.
3 steps would you take to check child labor?
Yes, sir. So firstly, I like to have the survey of the child laborers and the sectors in which they are primarily employed. So secondly, I'll try to create awareness regarding the child labor in my district and ensure that whoever sees the child labor working, they have the capacity to complain regarding them. I'll make sure availability of my numbers. I'll collaborate with the NGOs regarding it. So thirdly, I'll create the rehabilitative measures for the child labor, whether it is in the field of education or the shelter homes, though that they aren't compelled to work.
What action would you suggest against the people who are involved in child labor?
Yes, sir. Also, we have the Prohibition of Child Labor Act, under which I'll make sure that they get the sufficient punishment that they are liable for.
This is your third attempt?
Yes, sir.
Shreyansee, can you tell me what is your 7th choice in your order of preference in services?
Sorry, sir. I couldn't recall.
You filled up the form yourself, didn't you?
Yes, sir. But as of night, I skipped, sir. Sorry.
Okay. You are from Lucknow.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Uh, Apart from Lucknow, Agra, Fatehpur Sikri, which are which are historical cities and well-known cities, if I were to ask you to tell me, name 5 cities apart from these three which you would recommend me to visit, and why? 5 cities in UP.
So firstly, it is the Shravasti. So it was an place related to the Buddhism, and it is very much famous for its natural landscape. So secondly, it is the Varanasi Ghats and other rituals are they very famous there. So thirdly, I suggest the Jhansi Fort and the implications of the 1857 war. So fourthly, I'll suggest some Mirzapur. So the Chunar waterfalls are very famous there. So, and the last is the Kushinagar. So it's also a famous town with these stupas there.
What is so famous about Kushinagar?
So it is famous for the Buddhism. And so the Lord Buddha gave their first sermon there. Sorry, sir, it was his parinirvana place.
Where did he give his first sermon?
Sarnath, sir.
Good. Okay. You studied in the Isabella Thoburn College,
Yes, sir.
Lucknow.
Yes,
Who was Isabella Thoburn?
yes, sir. So she was an European missionary who came to India.
European?
Yes, sir.
Was she European?
Yes, sir.
Or was she American?
Yes, sir.
Or was she American?
So European.
Okay.
So during the
Are you sure she was European?
yes, sir, as far as I recall, she was European.
Okay.
So when she came to India in 1860s, so she recognized the women education and which was at very low at that time. So she established the Isabella Thoburn College, which is the first women education college in Asia.
When was it established?
So 1868.
Are you sure it was 1868? You just now said she came in 1870s.
No, sir. It is 18, she came in 1860s and established in 1867.
Are you sure about that?
Yes, sir.
Can you name 5 notable alumni from this college, from your college?
Yes, sir. So we have the famous sociologist Ismat Chutgai. So secondly, we have the Vartika Singh. She was a Miss India. So we have Isha Singh. She was pre-independence first women IS officer of the country. So as of now, I can recall 3. Sorry.
What is the motto of the Isabella Thoburn College?
So we received to give.
And what is the logo of the college, and what are the significance of the item? What of the logo as such?
So we have a globe and a marshal.
Globe.
Globe and a firing marshal. So, so its significance that there should be a light that should always carry forward us, and throughout the world we ever go, we should keep our charm and try to perpetuate our education.
What about the cross, the open book, the dove, the lotus?
So I couldn't recall of that.
Good.
Sorry.
Thank you very much, Shreyansee.
Thank you, sir. Yes, sir.
The focal point of sociology is on interaction. How do you distinguish from policies? Expansion sentences.
So I couldn't hear your question.
The
Sorry.
focal point of sociology rests on interaction.
Yes, sir.
How do you distinguish it from policies?
Okay, sir. So sociology is the systematic and the scientific study of the society. So we study the subjects which are very much similar to the common sense. So, but we try to organize it, research over it, and verify the facts with the multiple sources, creates the hypothesis, and then we come up with the theories, which is to the natural science method. So, in that way, we differentiate it from the common sense.
Currently, administrative training focuses more on improving efficiency than transforming the attitude and behavior. If you are at the helm of the things, in charge of training, what type of training would you suggest to fill this gap?
Yes, sir. Sir, to bring the attitudinal and the behavioral changes, sir, in training, I'll try to inculcate the subjects related to the morality and the ethics, the value addition classes, along with the showing the need of the morality that is still being needed in present society. So also I'll focus upon the regular yoga classes and other meditation aspect, which will help in ensuring the attitudinal changes.
Recent development programs have been designed
Yes, sir.
basically to facilitate multi-district growth of rural people.
Yes, sir.
Highlight some of the key rural development programs in India.
Yes, sir. So currently we're having the Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana, under which the rural houses is being constructed and to create employment in the region. So secondly, we have the Manrega scheme, which targets the unskilled workers and creates the employment opportunities and prevents the migration from those regions. So thirdly, we have Pradhan Mantri Gram Sadak Yojana rural scheme, which is increasing the connectivity of the rural region, which is facilitating their development. Thank you, sir.
Shreyansee,
Yes, sir.
who was the first women president of the Indian National Congress?
So Sarojini Naidu.
She was the first Indian woman.
Oh, sorry, sir. Annie Besant, sir.
In which year? Can you tell me?
Sir, couldn't recall.
Sarojini
Sorry.
Naidu, which year? Which Congress? Which Congress session?
I couldn't recall the exact year.
We have seen that the poor participation of women in the labor force.
Yes, sir.
How, as an administrator, will you increase the participation of women in the labor force? Give me two measures, very briefly.
Yes, sir. So, firstly, increasing the educational and the skilling level among the women so that they can work. So, thirdly, increasing the presence of SSGs and other NGOs that can help in linkage of them to the industry where they can work. So, these are the two steps that will work.
It is seen that the workplace environment for women is not safe in this country.
Yes, sir.
As an administrator, what steps will you take to improve the working environment of the women? Your steps should be short term, medium term, long term. Tell me two short term, two medium term, two long term measures
Yes.
to make the work environment safe for women as an administrator.
Yes, sir. So on the short term, I'll ensure the surveillance system and the better installation of cameras in my workplace. So secondly, we'll create the rules and regulations and strict implementation over them. So in the medium term, I'll incline with the Vishaka guidelines. I establish the internal complaints committee. So thirdly,
Internal committee will be in the short term.
yes, sir. Sorry,
Medium
sir.
term, I think it will not be helpful.
Yes, sir.
Vishaka will be in the short term.
Yes, sir.
Internal committee form it in the short term. Medium term, now you tell me.
Sir, in medium term, I can go for the training of the colleagues how to cooperate in the my workplace. So secondly,
Now tell me long term.
sorry, sir. Sir, in long term, we'll try to create a sensitization mechanism, sir, that will help in better workplace via the stricter implementation, better conviction rate of the internal complaints committee, as well as also bringing the best culture practices in the in my workplace.
In the women's organization like National Commission for Women,
Yes,
it has
sir.
all female members.
Yes, sir.
It is said that there should also be a male member in that panel.
Yes, sir.
Do you agree with that thing?
Yes, sir. In those institutions, they are mainly based on merit. So if we have a men, we can also have other perspective of knowing the grievances and addressing the issues in a better manner. So, sir, there is not an issue if male member is also appointed. So, if women, they are also appointed in on their merit basis. So, sir, there is not an issue in both the cases as of for me.
It will not be a problem for
Yes, sir.
it will not be a problem for you as an administrator if there is a male member in that all female panel.
So, if they're, so it depends upon how they are pursuing the situation. It is not that they would not understand. If they don't understand the issues, then there will be an issue in coordinating with them.
What were the intellectual forces
Yes, sir.
that led to the emergence of sociology? Tell me two intellectual forces that led to the emergence of sociology. Very briefly, two.
Yes, sir. So firstly, it was the scientific revolution at that time that gave to the prominence to the scientific studies and understanding the causes of the phenomena that makes these philosophers to understand the issue. So secondly, it was the Sir Machiavelli encouragement towards the new political system that will help in better understanding of the society that led to the emergence of sociology.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Shreyansee, just one more question before
Yes,
we
sir.
end this interaction. According to you, if you analyze the Indian society today,
Yes, sir.
what is the biggest social problem, according to you?
Yes, sir. Sir, it is the violence against women that is at present is very in social, major social problem of a country.
So, apart from institutional and legal steps, suggest 3 steps that we can take to eradicate this problem once and for all.
Sir, it is firstly the women empowerment, more inculcation of them in their decision making within their family.
That is part of empowerment.
Yes, sir. So secondly, more education to the women.
That is also part of empowerment.
Yes, sir. So ensuring the greater women labor force participation and the financial independence.
Is that not empowerment? Economic empowerment?
Yes, sir. So also the political empowerment of the women.
That's empowerment.
Yes, sir.
2 more.
Sir, making the women role models to come forward and inspire the other women to take up their steps.
Okay.
So sorry, I can.
Okay. Thank you, Shreyansee. Your interview is over. We will
Thank you,
reconnect
sir.
with you in some time for your feedback.
Thank you, sir.
Shreyansee, before we begin this feedback session, let us understand why UPSC holds this exercise. Okay. UPSC does not call it interviews. Aspirants call it interview. UPSC calls it personality test. So the idea behind this exercise is to evaluate your personality. Now, what does that mean? It means that what kind of values you have, how much you respect the constitution, rule of law, all those kind of things. Can you take decisions, especially under stress situations? Can you engage with multiple stakeholders? Are you a good communicator? Do you suffer from any kind of prejudice, bias, stereotypical thought, etc.? What kind of an outlook you have? Are you inclusive, or you are biased towards some community, caste, etc.? Do you get that thing, dear? The whole idea is to see that once you are trained, whether you will become an asset for the administration or you will turn out to be a liability. Whether will you further the case of social justice or you will become an impediment in the path of development. Got it? So, Every question that is thrown at you is thrown with the intention to uncover one or more dimensions or facets of your personality,
Yes, sir.
so that we can understand that this person, if he or she enters the system, whether he or she will help in the overall development or he or she would become a roadblock in power. Got it?
Yes, sir.
So this idea has to be clear in your head. So it is not the quantity of answers, but the quality of answers that will fetch you marks.
Yes.
So there are three aspects to any personality test. One is questions related to you.
Yes, sir.
Say 80 to 85% of the questions will emanate from the DAF.
Yes, sir.
Second category of questions would be current affairs questions,
Yes,
to
sir.
check how much is your awareness level. And the
Yes, sir.
third category of questions would be questions based on situations, to check your decision. Got it? Like suppose putting you in the shoes of a collector, commissioner, superintendent of police or something like that.
Yes.
Got it, dear? So let me highlight the good things of
Yes.
your personality test. Your communication skills are very good. You articulate your arguments very well. You were very polite, very decent. You maintained a smile throughout the course of the interaction. You maintained a good eye contact also, but there is a minor correction which I would suggest in some time. So over and all, you behaved very appropriately. You maintained the etiquettes of formal behavior intact.
Thank you, sir.
But what is good, Shreyansee, will remain good. So I'm not interested much more today in talking about the good things.
Yes,
Let me
sir.
highlight those things where I think you need improvement.
Yes.
So I'll start from the very beginning. See, when you enter the door, you must knock. On that day, there would be a CISF Jawan who would assist you in opening the door. So once the door is open, present yourself at the door with a
Yes, sir.
smile on your face.
Yes, sir.
Ask for permission to enter the room. Once you are granted that permission, sit beside the chair. Sorry, stand beside the chair and do not show a kind of haste in occupying the seat. This shows that you can wait for taking orders. You stood almost in front of the chair and suddenly you stopped
Yes, sir.
when I said, please take your seat. So this shows that you are overawed or anxious or nervous. These are not
sir.
good signs of a potential civil servant.
Okay, sir.
Got it, dear? Once you occupy that seat, take time to occupy the seat. Do not sit on one side of the chair.
Yes, sir.
Otherwise, it will look very informal. Got
Yes,
it?
sir.
So you have to maintain a good, attentive posture,
Yes,
and you have to take time to occupy your seat. Once you occupy your seat, then do not make so much of movements, hand movements, all of
Okay,
that.
sir.
Otherwise, the sitting posture was fine. Then the eye contact. When somebody is asking you a question, you are looking at other members as well in between.
Yes, sir.
That is not the right way, dear. You know, suppose when you are asking me something and I look elsewhere, it means either I do not respect you, or I'm not interested in what you are saying, or I suffer from attention lapse.
Okay, sir.
Do you understand
I'll
that?
focus on it.
So only focus towards that person who is asking you the question.
Yes, sir.
Check the head movement. There's too much excessive movement of the head.
Okay, sir.
Once the question is over, then you can slightly lower your gaze. It gives an impression as if you're thinking over the question. You are introspecting over the issue.
Okay, sir.
Rather than when you shoot your answer, it seems that you are waiting for this question. The answer is already ready-made somewhere. You want to withdraw it from a bucket and you want to throw it on the
Yes,
table.
sir.
Do you understand that? Once you are done with your thinking, say 2-3 seconds, then you pick your gaze up and again start answering by looking at the person who has asked you the question. Say 60 to 70% of the times you look towards that person who has asked you the question.
Yes, sir.
30 to 40% of the times you can share fair glances with other members of the board as well, so that they do not feel left out. Otherwise, they would feel neglected and they might also take offense of it.
Okay, sir.
Got it? And this shows that you can engage with multiple people.
Yes,
Got
sir.
it? The beginning of your answer and the end of your answer should be by looking at the person who has asked you the question.
Okay, sir.
Meanwhile, also engage with other members of the board. Sometimes you were not listening to the question properly. And this was because you wanted to answer very quickly.
Okay, sir.
And the right way to ask permission to think is, sir, can I have few moments to think? Or can I have few seconds to think? Do not quantify. Just say that. Once you're done with thinking, then you answer. Now, if 3 steps are asked from you, just highlight those 3 steps. No need of explaining it.
Okay, sir.
Got it? And if you want that why you have chosen these steps, if you want the members to know about it, then you say at the end, sir, if you give me permission, I can tell you why I have chosen these steps. When you entered and you wished everybody,
Yes,
you
sir.
wished individually.
Yes, sir.
Do you remember that?
Yes, sir.
If there are 15 members in the board,
I won't be able to.
150, suppose in a hall. So the right way is to say good morning or good afternoon, whatever the time of the day is, sirs.
Okay.
And while you do that, you look towards everybody.
Okay.
Got it? So it could be anything. Any of these greetings would work. Good afternoon or good morning, sirs,
Okay.
madam and sirs,
Okay.
madams and sirs,
Okay.
madams and sir,
Okay.
whatever, permutation and combination. You also have a habit. Whenever a question is being asked, in between you say yes, yes,
Yes.
yes. Sometimes it becomes
Excessive.
excessive, dear.
Excessive.
So much so that people lose focus from what they are asking. Right? So if you have that habit, now it is too short a time period to curb that habit. Say that yes in your mind. Do not utter it.
Okay.
Got it? And when you do that, there is a lot of head movement, hand movement. So these are minor things. Shreyansee. Your bases are covered. Basics are very good, strong. These are minor things. If you can work on these areas, then there will be a definite improvement. There was no question on journaling,
Yes,
but
sir.
prepare that area also very well. How did you develop that hobby? What kind of benefits you have drawn from that hobby? How journaling will help you in becoming a good civil servant? For all those questions, you create good answers, right? Overall, the performance was decent, but there can be much more improvement over this performance. There is enough room for improvement. Sir will add few points, and then you can ask me your questions, and then finally I'll disclose your score.
I totally agree on that, Shreyansee. There is a lot of scope of improvement, and if you take these points that which we have brought out and which I will be talking about in the right spirit, I can see a fair jump of bring propel you into the civil services, right?
Yes, I'll
So
work.
yeah, you'll have to work on that. Apart from whatever has been said, when you were thinking, you did not take permission to think, and you were looking down. At times you were thinking, you thought for a little longer time without taking any permission. So whenever you have to think, no harm in seeking permission. Can I take a few seconds a few moments to think?
So it can be for multiple times also.
Doesn't matter.
Okay.
Doesn't matter.
Okay.
Right? But not taking permission and going to that thinking mode is actually, that will be negative.
Yes.
Right? So number one is, whenever a question is asked, never jump into the answer. Take a few seconds and then answer. But when you have to think beyond a few seconds, then take permission.
Okay.
But do not look down or maybe look up or something. Just lower your gaze a little bit.
Okay.
That's all. Right?
Okay.
You looked, is it the first interview?
Yes.
You looked anxious today.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Right?
I was.
It was visible. It was written all over your face. You looked anxious. Don't get anxious about
Yes.
it. Relax. Enjoy it. Okay? You will have to enjoy the experience. If you don't enjoy the experience, you will not give your best.
Yes.
Remember that. So go there to enjoy it. Nothing can happen. What worse can happen? Doesn't matter. So go with the spirit that yes, I'm going to enjoy it. So once you go with that spirit, you will definitely do a much better job than when you get a little tense or get anxious. You will actually be lowering your performance, and that's not called for, right? Your DAF knowledge was good. Date of birth knowledge was good. When I talked about the child labor, you could answer that question well also. But when I talked about the IT college, I think there is a lot of improvement required there.
Okay, sir.
Now, from whatever little I know, Isabel Thobun, she was an American. She was not a European. Right? So, check back. When was it formed? It was founded, I think, if I remember correctly, in 1876 or 1886. Right? 1870, she founded the first college in a small room somewhere.
Lalbagh.
Yes. So that was the first college, class that she started.
Okay.
But the college actually was founded in 1886.
Okay.
Right? and even the logo of the motto, you very rightly said that was right, but the logo
Yes.
was not what you said. You, I think, misinterpreted. Right? What is the logo? It's a cross, it's a book, open book, it's a dove, and it's a lotus. Now you have to know what each of these signifies. What does the cross signify? Everybody knows it's a Christian missionary school or college, right? What does the open book signify? It's the Bible.
Yes.
What does the dove signify? It's the Holy Spirit. What does the lotus signify? The national flower. So you have to have brush up a little knowledge about your college. 3 places that you recommended for visiting in UP was very well answered, good. But when it came to the 7th choice, you know why I asked you the 7th choice? Because the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th are the routine. What generally what people do. You had filled up your IAS. I think IPS is your 2nd choice. IFS is your 3rd choice. Then you filled up the IRS, IT. Then you filled up the IRS customs. And then your 6th choice was audits and accounts. These are standard, you know. That's why I asked you 7th choice. And you have filled up the form, right? Isn't it? Just a little while ago. So you should, at least the first 10 you should be knowing very, like the back of your hand.
Yes.
Right? A little bit of awareness there would have done wonders. And let me tell you, with a little bit of brushing up on all these things, most of the questions are going to be related to your DAF.
Okay.
Right? So if you brush up on every word that you've written here, Rajendra Nagar, who is this Rajendra Nagar named after? Right? Things like that
Yes.
will help you a lot.
Okay.
Right? All the very best, Shreyansee.
Thank you, sir.
Shreyansee, now you can ask your questions if there are any.
Yes, so the question that are being asked on rechanging of the name. So how should I answer that question?
Yes, your answer was decent on
Okay.
that. Right? See, always highlight it as people's demand.
Yes.
And in a democracy, people's demand should always be respected. Got it? And if there are historical currents, because you are a student of history as well,
Yes.
so if there are historical currents which are flowing in that direction,
Yes.
which warrant the change of name, then the society should acknowledge it if it does not create law and order issues. Because several names have been changed and they have not created any major law and order issue. Or rather than having one name, we can have multiple names also. That's also an alternative, right? See, even when it was known as Allahabad, people used to call it Prayagraj. There was a train service also which was named as Prayagraj Express. So there is a cultural connotation, there is an administrative connotation, there is a historical connotation.
Okay.
So you have to highlight all of that. It shows that you can think comprehensively. Got it, dear? Also, see, when sir asked you a question about short term, mid term,
sir.
long term, these kind of questions come. They are full tosses.
Yes.
So you have to think quickly, because in today's day and age, you see people, the 1 minute reel, people even cannot tolerate it if it is not up to the mark. Similarly, I asked you that if there could be institutional measures, legal measures, what other measures? You said women empowerment.
It was very big.
And after that, you kept on saying so many things. It means you cannot think very quickly. That is what I could gauge out of it. So think over it. So I'm saying institutional measures, legal measures, say social measures, technological measures. ऐसे बोलो ना.
Yes. So in this, I should improve the quality of
Yes,
the
economic
answers.
measures.
Okay.
Because I have said very broad terms
Yes.
and deliberately have done that. You made it very narrow. Women empowerment. That could be a social measure, part of social measure. Got it, dear?
Yes.
So see, Shreyansee, as sir has also highlighted, we are taking this detailed feedback for you so that we can help you in improving your overall score. Got it, dear? So take it in the right spirit.
Yes.
Today is the day of learning.
Yes.
When is your interview scheduled?
22nd of March.
That is the day of performance.
Yes.
So if you work on this feedback, then definitely there would be a jump of at least 20 to 25 marks. And if you cross 180, your chances of going into the services and getting a cadre of your choice will improve handsomely. Got it? So based on today's performance, we have given you 160. 160. But if you work on these small areas, then there would be a jump of 20 marks easily. If you ask me, I have a hunch that you are making it this year. And because you are a female candidate also, UPSC encourages the entry of females into administration.
Yes.
So everything is going in your favor. You have good communication skills, you articulate your arguments very well, you are very polite, and over and above everything, you appeared very decent.
Okay, sir.
You look like trainable. Got it? So all these things are going in your favor. Deliberately, we have not touched on those areas which are good, because we know that they will remain good. Got it, dear? Thank you very much.
Thanks, sir.
All the best, Shreyansee.
Thank you.